Good morning! Horseradish sauce. That's the project for today. A couple of years ago, I planted some horseradish root and did not harvest it last year. And if you don't harvest it, they tend to take over an entire portion of a garden. They're very invasive. They do spread by these big giant tubers here. So and the longer you keep them in the ground, the bigger they get and the more they spread. So you need to dig them up usually after the first freeze, which in Wisconsin it's pretty early. It's beginning of November. Ingredients I'm going to use: sour cream, avocado, mayo, to keep it keto friendly. You can use one or the other. I've seen recipes where people use a combination, so I'm going to use a combination and just kind of feel it through what I'm going to like. Vinegar, salt, pepper, and dill. So you can use fresh or dried. And we'll get started. I'm gonna have to. I've already washed them. They come out of the ground, as you can imagine, really pretty filthy. They've got a lot of little nooks and crannies. That's all gonna have to be peeled out with a peeler, similar like a carrot or a parsnip or whatever tuber you're working with. So we're gonna get going on that and make us some horseradish, creamy horseradish, hot and spicy horseradish. So here you got the roots. Now what you want to do, you're going to want to make it a flat surface. So you're going to want to cut off some of these knobs here. Make it easier when you start peeling it. Of course, be careful. Now as soon as you start cutting these, basically the horseradish place, along with wasabi and some other plants, they over the years developed a self-defense mechanism for herbivores, and they release a chemical. That's the heat that you get. Now that chemical will keep getting hotter. If you put a stick in your mouth, it'll keep getting hotter because the pH level in your mouth is very close to neutral. And unless you bring the pH level up, the heat's going to keep getting hotter. So that's why when we're making this, we have the vinegar. The vinegar, once you add that, we'll do that once we start grating, really grating it. You let it get, after about 2 minutes, it gets to its hottest point. But, like I can smell it already. But once we're grating it, it'll keep getting hotter and hotter, and depending on how hot you want it, you add your vinegar, and that freezes it basically at that level, at that point. So it's all up to personal preference, I guess, but it is. Nature developed this hot sensation for a reason. It was to protect itself. So, but as you can see, we're getting this down. Now I'm going to trim off these areas here around the root. I'll take that off too. Yeah, eyes are burning just a little bit. Holy moly. I'm not even into grating it yet. So we'll get it down to where it's all white, all these stalks. I really don't need this much, but the good thing about this is I'm going to keep some of these roots that are whole. You can put them in a Ziploc bag in the refrigerator with a little wet towel, and they'll keep for a while. Also, you can make the sauce and freeze it, and that'll also keep for a long time. So in the refrigerator, it's good for a couple of months. If it lasts that long. If you like horseradish sauce, it's not going to last that long. So, all right, we'll fast forward through this.
Are you getting this? I got tears rolling down my...
Oh my gosh, that's what happens. Good Lord. I can handle the tears, but the runny nose really sucks. Almost there. Almost there. Okay, there you have it, the debris field, otherwise known as CS gas, of the horseradish. I've got it all cut in, or all shaved. Now I'm just going to dice them up and get them ready for the food processor to the next step. And this will also cause more. It's a good thing the wife's not home. All right, so here we are. To make things easier, you can cut these up in smaller pieces. Are we on there? Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so now we're going to put them in our, I'm going to put about half of them, maybe even less than half, in this food processor. We're going to add about a 1/4 cup of water. Yeah, that's about it. All right. So, 1/4 cup of water. I use my trusty, one of my coffee cups. It's not a precise method. So, that's about a 1/4 cup. Put this bad boy on. Let's turn around and let's chop. Things are about to get aromatic, by the way. Let's do this. And because these are pretty woody, it's going to take a little bit. Yeah, they are taking a bit. Turn this off, and I'm going to avoid. All right, now I've got it to the consistency that I want. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you can see in there. Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious! Yes, it is a fireball. Okay, so now we're going to add about half of what I for the whole batch. About half of the we're going to add half of the other ingredients. We got to stop the heat process by adding a little less than about 2 tablespoons of vinegar. You can always adjust it more or less, and then about a teaspoon and a half of salt. So I use sea salt, and we're going to get to that pronto. That's if I can set this up. Oh, maybe not. All right, well, there we go. All right, so vinegar. And that's going to stop the heat from moving on. Yeah, well, there we go. And about a teaspoon and a half. There we go. And we'll pulse that. I'm going to open this up, and you got to really keep your face away from this because it really does blast out a cloud at you. It'll literally take your breath away. So unless you're, sadistic or masochistic, I wouldn't recommend sticking your face down in there. But you want to make sure everything's getting pushed down along the edges, and you want to mix it up again. Smells wonderful from back here. Let's see if I can give you a look. All right, so here's what we got. I'm going to push it down. I'm going to give it a little bit more blending. I do like it. This is a creamy. I'm going for creamy, so I really want all those chunks. Oops, all those chunks. Man, this is strong stuff. All right, so we're going to put that back on. Oh, come on now, Steve-O. There we go. All right, we're going to put that back on, give it a few more pulses. Look at that. I got stuff already all around here. Okay, one thing I would recommend, right now I've got these things in about nickel, some of them about a quarter, size of a quarter. I'm going to chop them up a little finer. When I was pulsing this up initially, it took a long time for the pieces to finally let go and give me what I wanted. So as far as breaking apart, because I mean they are kind of a woody tuber. So next batch I'm going to cut it up a little bit, dice it up a little bit thinner. So we'll get on to the next step after I get this next batch all pureed up. All right, we got. Holy cow! Holy hell! Is it? This kitchen has turned into a big giant CS gas. Oh my goodness! I gotta tell you. I'm not much for crying, but holy smokes. I apparently offended this horseradish plant by throwing it into the food processor because, yeah, it went into defense mode. And so be ready when you're making this that it can be offensive. So here's what we got. We got 5 cups of the concentrate. So we still have to add the sour cream and the mayo to make it into a sauce. Although it does look saucy. This is the consistency we got right here. Oh my goodness gracious. So I've added the salt and the vinegar, and now we're just going to go for taste and do a little experimenting because I didn't know this was how much I was going to get. So this is what I got. Now it's time to experiment. Okay, so basically what I'm doing, I've toyed around with a little bit, and it's very potent stuff. This here is basically the concentrate, what you've seen me do so far. Now what we're going to do is we're going to thin it out and make it into a sauce. We're taking a half a cup of the concentrate there and put it into a cup, measuring cup here where I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to take about half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of avocado mayo and half a cup, about a half a cup of sour cream. Along with that, I'll add some white pepper, some dill weed, a little bit more salt, and mix it all up with the little hand Cuisinart there. These are all approximate, of course. It's about a little bit more. I like that. 3/4. I'm the only person that eats mayo in this house, so I'm not worried about contaminating anything. Sour cream, on the other hand, we use for everything, so I'm going to be careful. That's about 1/4. white pepper, just a dash, dill, that's dill weed, a little bit more salt, and some people like using, I mean, in a lot of the recipes people use sugar. You can use any kind of artificial sweetener if you want. I do. Some people don't like it. You don't have to. It's all up to taste. At this point, it's all up to taste. So I just use either stevia or Splenda, whatever I have on me. So there we have the mix. What am I missing here? Anything? Salt, pepper. All right. So now we'll mix her up. Let's see if we can get you a better bird's eye view. Getting those last little woody chunks taken care of. Yeah, I'll get a little bit of mayo here on this. Because I'm using dry dill, it'll take a little bit for it to open up flavor-wise once it rehydrates. And I imagine this will thicken up since I'm mixing the heck out of it with the Cuisinart here. It'll thicken up once I put it back in the fridge. From here, I'm going to put them in some little canning jars, plastic containers. Like I said, freeze it, and it'll freeze it for at least a year, I would imagine. I've got a lot here, so I'm going to give a lot away as gifts. And I'll make some really weaker ones for people that basically like the the fast food horsey sauce, which barely has a touch of heat to it. So, but that's good too. So thanks for watching.